Me, you also watch that series, Designated Survivor. It's not just a TV drama, though. Every single year, a cabinet member is chosen by the president to stay hidden in a secure, undisclosed location during the State of the Union, just in case of a catastrophic attack on the Capitol, where everybody is gathered. While we won't know today's pick until after President Biden's address has begun, the president's recent picks have included Labor Secretary Marty Walsh and Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo. Back in 2007, U.S. Attorney General Alberto Gonzales was chosen by then-President George W. Bush. Former Attorney General Alberto Gonzales joins me now this morning to talk more about what goes into this process and making that decision. Thank you so much for hopping on, because I'm fascinated by this whole process. I mean, to be the designated survivor alone in case the president and every lawmaker in that room tonight were to die, I mean, that must be eerie, right?
Well, it certainly gets your attention once you really think about it. After you're designated, it makes for a great question and answer with high school students. When I travel the country, sometimes I speak to high school students, and we'll have fun discussions about it.
As I mentioned, you were selected by President Bush to serve as the designated survivor back in 2007. I understand that, you know, I always had this vision of being in an underground bunker of sorts, but you were actually on a plane, right, high in the sky when you were the survivor?
Right. I was contacted by Josh Bolten, the president's chief of staff, about a week in advance of the State of the Union. And I was given actually two options in terms of what I could do that evening. And so the option I chose was to put me in an airplane during the State of the Union.
Why that one?
I don't know why that one. I just felt perhaps it would be kind of cool to fly around and just, as the president gave the State of the Union. It was interesting. When I arrived at Andrews Air Force Base, there were individuals from every major department and agency carrying these big binders of protocols and procedures to advise me in the event that I became president of the United States. Of course, everything today could probably fit on your phone. We took off to parts unknown, and then you received a number of briefings, and then I settled in to watch President Bush give his State of the Union. And it was at that point in time where I suddenly realized, oh my gosh, if something happened back at the Capitol, then conceivably I would become president of the United States. It is a sobering thought, quite frankly.
Yeah, it must be somewhat daunting. And I was going to ask, you bring up the binders. I was going to ask you that. I mean, beforehand, do you go through classes? Are you given a manuscript, rebuilding the government from the ground up, 101?
Well, I'm assuming that all that is included in the binders, quite frankly. No, there was no special training. They probably choose people that would have some pretty good knowledge about things going on in the world that are important, things going on in this country that were important. And, I was honored to do it. There is a statute that outlines the line of presidential succession. And so I think the Attorney General is number 7 in that line of succession. And so anyone, that is killed above me in that line of succession, if they're all gone, then I become president. But obviously, those below me, that doesn't really matter in terms of whether I would become president or not. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna, you brought up another point. I imagine it's also a very flattering thing, to have that kind of faith instilled in you, that you'd be the guy for the job. Do you have any guesses as to who it might be tonight? Is that something that, members of Congress take bets on, behind the scenes leading up to State of the Union?
No, I have no idea. Obviously, that's a decision that's made at the highest levels of the executive branch. As far as I know, only 2 members of the legislative branch are included in the line of presidential succession. That is the Speaker of the House and the President pro tem of the Senate. Beyond that, it really the law it goes down the list of cabinet secretaries. But it's obviously a great responsibility, and as I said at the outset, it makes for a great discussion with high school students.
Yeah, and a couple seconds left. If the designated survivor were to be watching this right now, any words of wisdom or advice for him or her?
Try to enjoy the experience.
Yeah, once in a lifetime, that's for sure. Alberto Gonzales, fascinating. Thank you, sir, for joining me. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.